There's a quiet fear that tiptoes in once you hit a certain age. It's not about wrinkles or creaky knees or forgetting where you put your glasses. Though, let's be honest, that one's getting suspiciously regular. No, the fear I'm talking about is the big one. The moment someone gently clears their throat and says, "Maybe it's time we think about a nursing home." Now hang on, before you pack your slippers and wave goodbye to your independence, let's talk about this. Because can no longer take care of yourself doesn't automatically mean you're ready for bingo nights and cafeteria jello. There's a whole lot of gray between managing everything alone and moving into a place where your mail gets forwarded and your schedule includes mandatory chair yoga. See, aging isn't a light switch. It's more like a dimmer. Some days you're sharp, steady, maybe just a little slower tying your shoes. Other days, well, the cat looks at you like she knows you haven't vacuumed in 3 weeks, and you start wondering if she's judging your life choices. But that doesn't mean you're helpless. It means you're human. And humans need options. Take a breath. Because rushing into a nursing home just because your back gave out trying to carry the laundry isn't the answer. Neither is signing over your life to a facility because your kids got spooked when you left the stove on once. Once. It was toast. It happens. Let's talk about some of the other options that no one seems to mention until you're already halfway into your new shared room with a roommate who insists on watching game shows at full volume. First off, modifications. Your house may not be what it once was, but neither are you, and that's not a bad thing. Grab bars in the shower, ramps for steps, voice-activated lights, and a little help with cleaning or groceries can go a long way. You'd be amazed what a difference it makes when you don't have to climb Mount Everest just to get to the mailbox. And no, pride doesn't have to be the hill you break your hip on. Use the walker, install the rail. It's not weakness, it's strategy. Then there's in-home care. I'm not talking about full-time live-in nurses, unless that's what you need. I'm talking about just enough help to keep you in your space, on your terms. A visiting nurse, a physical therapist, someone to drive you to appointments, or just help with a few meals a week. You get to keep your routines. You keep your view out that kitchen window where the birds gather. You keep your bed, your chair, your dignity. What we lose in aging isn't ability, it's control. So much of the fear around getting older is rooted in this idea that we're going to be whisked away and handled like a delicate museum piece. Look, but don't touch. Stay within the yellow lines. Ask permission for snacks. And that's the core of this. The nursing home conversation too often comes from fear, not from fact. It's someone else's fear that you'll fall, that you'll get hurt, that something will happen when no one's looking. That's not love. It's panic. Real love asks, what do you want? How do we keep your world as intact as possible while making it safer? And to be fair, sometimes the concern is valid. If the fridge is empty, the bills are unpaid, and the cat's been eating cereal because you forgot to buy pet food for 2 weeks, then yes, we need to step in. But that still doesn't mean it's time to hand over your keys and send your plants to live with the neighbor. There's a beautiful middle ground, and we need to normalize it. Assisted living at home, co-housing with family or close friends, moving a trusted friend into your extra room. And yes, I know the idea of your nephew's girlfriend moving in to help out sounds like a sitcom waiting to happen. But stranger things have worked. People are resourceful, especially seniors. Especially you. You've made it this far. You've figured out how to program the microwave. You know how to double a recipe. You once fixed a leaky pipe with duct tape and prayer. This is no time to surrender your independence just because things are getting trickier. And let's not forget, nursing homes aren't exactly the paradise brochures make them out to be. Sure, some are lovely, but others are less five-star hotel and more institutional beige. That smell? It's not lavender. That menu? Let's just say mystery meat still hasn't gone out of style. And while companionship is great, not everyone wants to be woken up at 6 a.m. for a community breakfast of lukewarm oatmeal. There's also the emotional side. People think loneliness disappears once you're in a facility. But being surrounded by people isn't the same as being known. You could be in a room full of residents and still feel like you're shouting into the void. And when you've lived a life full of stories, full of odd habits and quiet rituals, being in a space that doesn't reflect that, it can feel like disappearing. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to choose how and where you live out this next chapter. Not as a burden, not as a problem to solve, but as a full human being who still has preferences, personality, and pride. So before you agree to anything, ask yourself, is this what I want? Is this my best life? Or is it someone else's idea of safety wrapped in a bow? Because safety without joy is just another kind of cage. And no matter what anyone says, your age doesn't erase your right to choose. Even if you forget your car keys, you still remember how to stand your ground. The truth is, the push toward nursing homes often comes faster than it should. One fall, one forgotten pot on the stove, and suddenly you're being treated like a toddler who can't be left alone with scissors. But that's not care. That's overcorrection. Aging doesn't mean losing your voice. If anything, it means that voice should get louder. You've earned the right to have a say in how your life unfolds, right down to where you sleep and who gets to change your light bulbs. Here's the thing people don't always admit. Nursing homes are businesses. They're not villains, but they're not charities either. If you show up on their doorstep, they'll take you in. But you better believe they've got charts, schedules, rules, routines. Your old habit of drinking coffee at 10 p.m. because night owls live longer? That's not going to fly when lights out is at 8 and decaf is the only option. And forget keeping secrets. That drawer full of candy bars you've hidden from your doctor? It'll be discovered within the first week. The place runs like a well-oiled machine, and anything that doesn't fit the mold gets adjusted. Often politely, sometimes permanently. Now let's be honest. There are times when a nursing home is the right move. Advanced dementia, chronic illness that needs 24/7 medical care, or if you genuinely want to be there. Some folks like the structure, the community, the sense of everything being handled. But even then, it should be your decision. Not something you get nudged into because your family has a cruise booked and no one wants to cancel. What often gets overlooked is the magic of slow solutions. Downsizing to a one-story house, renting out a room to a younger tenant in exchange for help, relying on neighbors who've known you for decades. Your world doesn't need to shrink. It can just evolve. There are also new programs, smart home technology, meal services tailored for seniors, virtual check-ins with nurses, even group chats where you and a bunch of old friends remind each other to take your meds. The future is already here, and a lot of it is shaped for staying home, not shipping out. It's okay to admit you need help. That's not the issue. The issue is how we respond to that need. Do we build scaffolding that lets you keep your life intact? Or do we bulldoze the whole house and say, well, this is easier? Remember, life isn't about surviving on someone else's terms. It's about continuing to live on your own. If you've always liked the sun hitting your porch at 4 in the afternoon while you sip something warm and ignore a crossword puzzle, you shouldn't have to trade that in for a TV room full of reruns you didn't vote for. And let's not forget the quiet danger of giving up too early. When people move into homes before they need to, it can take the wind right out of their sails. Less walking, less decision-making, fewer reasons to get dressed. That spark, the thing that keeps you curious, connected, alive, can fade without warning. It's like a plant put in the wrong pot. It might survive, but will it thrive? We don't talk enough about thriving after 70, after 80, after 90. But it happens. It just doesn't happen when you're told where to sit, when to bathe, and how many crackers you're allowed with your soup. Now I get it. This conversation isn't easy, especially with family. You might have kids who mean well, but are scared out of their minds. Watching their once indestructible parent struggle with zippers or forget a birthday, it rattles them. They want to fix it. But fixing doesn't always mean replacing. Sometimes it means reinforcing. So talk to them. Don't wait until they've booked a tour at Golden Fields Assisted Living and printed out the brochure with the lady in the sweater who looks suspiciously photoshopped. Sit them down. Look them in the eye. Tell them, I'm still here. I'm still me. And I have plans. Because aging is not a problem. It's a privilege. One not everyone gets. And just because your knees groan louder than your dog doesn't mean you're done. It means you've made it to a part of life where you finally get to say, no thanks, I'll stay in my own bed. And if you're listening to this, nodding quietly because you've felt that pressure, remember, this is your story. You can still change the plot. Just because the world expects one ending doesn't mean you can't surprise them. And if anyone gives you a hard time, just smile sweetly and say, let's not rush. I still haven't figured out what to name my sourdough starter. If you made it this far, maybe you're one of the wise ones. Maybe you're thinking about a parent, a neighbor, or even yourself. Either way, stick around. We talk about the stuff most people avoid. And if this felt like something worth hearing, hit that subscribe button. Oh, and drop your city in the comments. Let's see just how far this good sense travels.